This is Michael with On the Offside. We're going to kick it off with another podcast. Today I'm with Matt, Colby, and Derek, and we're going to just do a little bit of recap of this weekend. Had a lot of crazy stuff going on, so we're going to have a lot to talk about today. First off, I'm just going to start off with this, guys. Go Bucks!
That's
4-0. Bucks are 4-0. So I don't know if anybody got to – I didn't get to really watch the game, but was it 55-48 overtime game? So had to be an exciting game, but going to keep that rolling and mentioning them each week. So did any of you guys actually watch the game or any part of the game?
Hell no. Kept up.
I caught a decent amount of it. I watched a decent amount.
Okay. I didn't really know what it was on this weekend, but I was keeping up with the score there towards the end. I think Matt, you had texted me something about it, or you texted the group, and then I looked it up and I was like, oh man. So that fourth quarter, I think I looked, and it was like each of them had 20-some points in just the fourth quarter. So got pretty wild there towards the end. But Bucks are 4-0 though.
We need a on the offside trip to watch ETSU. That'd be kind of dope.
I agree. Especially, I've actually not been to their new stadium either. So somehow they were building it when I went there, but I never did actually get to watch it. So I'd definitely be down for that. So a little recap on that, and maybe we'll do a little live on that. I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
But I wanted to start it with that today, and then kind of moving on there. I kind of want to talk about Clemson getting beaten overtime. I was watching that one. So, I mean, their playoff hopes got to be gone, right?
Hope so.
It's a 2-game loss early in the season. If anything, if the playoff hopes aren't gone, it has to be perfect for the rest of the year. There's no room for error for anything else.
And they need a lot of help.
Yeah.
So my big question, at what point do we start the argument that Dabo might not be that great of coach? He's just had amazing talent at quarterback that he's used. I mean, think about it. Deshaun and Trevor.
Yeah.
Dabo's done well at Clemson, he's had just a phenomenal quarterback.
Yeah, but he's had good talent elsewhere too. I mean, I don't necessarily.
I mean, no doubt. They've had some defenses. But, I mean, I don't think it's coincidence that DJ is not playing well and Clemson got beat by an unranked NC State. I mean.
No. I mean, I definitely and like I said, I don't necessarily like the dude, but I mean, I feel like he can recruit. I mean, they usually have stout defenses and can run the ACC for what that's worth. But I mean, you're right. I mean, he's relied heavily in the last 6 years just on quarterback. I mean, having Deshaun and Trevor, I mean, that's tough to beat.
Even the fact that he's had no turnover at defensive coordinator because he's had Venables the whole time, like that is huge.
Yeah.
You look at Bama, who has to replace usually one, if not both, coordinators every single season. To have the same defensive coordinator for however many seasons they've been together, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. There's no doubt Dabo can recruit well. Obviously, he can develop talent somewhat because we've seen him do it in the past.
True.
I guess more what I'm saying too, I'm tired of hearing him compared as like the next Saban or anything like that. Yeah, stop it. Nick Saban won with Jake Coker at QB, so I don't want to hear it.
That's all he needs.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think that if you had to rank college football coaches, Saban's in a tier of his own. I mean, I'd put Dabo in that very next tier. I mean, there's Saban's on a level of his own, and he did build up that program. It wasn't like it was handed to him. It wasn't on a silver platter. He built it up. They're consistently winning a Power 5 conference. They're still not necessarily out of winning their conference this year. One of their losses was out of conference. But yeah, I mean, he's not Saban. Saban is a one of a kind, and who knows if we'll ever even see anybody win as much as he has.
Yeah, I agree with you on that part as well. I do think as far as Dabo goes, though, I mean, we got to give it, even like a down season too. I'm not going to be able straight jump to that conclusion that I still think he's a really good coach. But I mean, you are right. He did have two phenomenal quarterbacks, and that doesn't always have to happen as much. So you got to give a little credit to that, I think, or a lot of the credit to that as well. So,
and I mean,
but Clemson's
DJ was supposed
going
to
to
be
lose
that.
more games.
DJ was supposed to be that guy this year, so maybe that's the more concerning thing. It's like what's going on with DJ? Is this something for him personally? Is he just not been developed? I don't know.
Right.
Good question.
And not trying to take anything away from Saban, but I mean, Dabo's been very successful, and I just looked up how old he is. He's only 51. I mean, how old Saban's what, 70?
Yeah, but in Saban years, Saban's only like 27. So,
and what is they never die?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, he's had more years of experience.
No, I get. I'm not saying Dabo's a bad coach. I'm saying maybe he was hyped up a little too much. Not to take away from him, he's a top 5 coach in NCAA right now.
Yeah, and he's still going to end up winning the ACC for what that's worth.
Yeah, North Carolina looks terrible. They got beat by
the ACC in general is weak, so weak.
Yeah.
Derek, I mean this, and we can make this a weekly thing too. Does Ellie got a take on that? I know she made an appearance last week, so
she likes all the dog schools. So
yeah,
she doesn't like Clemson. They're Tigers. And,
That's fair.
She's actually a big UT fan. So
hey, so we'll get to UT. I'm gonna try to prolong it a little bit in this one just because I got to be ready for that. So I got to be ready to talk about that one. Going into another game, Arkansas, are they for real? They look it. I will say I'm concerned about something though, with the quarterback getting hurt towards the end. I do think the backup looked good for what he went in for, but I would like to see about. I don't know the status on that quarterback because they got a big game coming up with Georgia. So I think obviously beating A&M, I think Arkansas is a real team to deal with this year. Definitely a bowl game. They're making a bowl game this year. They're going to do that. But this next game against Georgia, that's really going to show just how good they are. But I got to give them credit for this one against A&M. A&M's a good team. I think A&M's there's a lot of season left for them too, so I wouldn't exactly jump and panic if I'm an A&M fan, but I think Arkansas is a real deal. So,
big thing is where do they finish at in the West? I mean, we're going to know kind of a good idea of what they are next week, but it's going to be a battle for who's finishing second in the West. And maybe it's Arkansas, maybe it's Ole Miss,
probably Alabama.
Who?
Hey, this weekend's going to tell a lot, though, like you said, because Ole Miss does play Alabama. So, and Arkansas playing Georgia. I mean, Georgia's not in the West, but get an idea of some of those top West teams there. So,
yeah, for sure.
I've got a take from that, and I've never really been a big Jimbo fan. So that's where this is coming from. But I'm going to go out and say that A&M severely regrets paying him what they've paid him. I don't think they're giving him money like he's a Saban, and he's not. I mean, that's just the way I look at it.
So my thing about Jimbo, first of all, you look at the year he won it all with Florida State. Let's be honest. The reasons he won that championship, Jameis Winston, Kelvin Benjamin, who was an absolute freak at Florida State.
And just in the NFL.
Yeah, but
I was kidding.
He started off well in the NFL.
Yeah.
His career gone too soon.
It's a sore subject for Panthers fans.
I get it. Anyway, when you hire Jimbo at A&M, I think you got a big name for recruiting and not much else. And my thing is, it's like, what did he bring to the table besides recruiting that Kevin Sumlin didn't? Because if you look at records, it's pretty similar. If you look at games they should win and games they don't win, I just kind of went back to what Derek said. I don't get paying him that much to have the same on-the-field performance as Kevin Sumlin.
Yeah.
Well, and I think as a program, they'll take a step back when Oklahoma and Texas come into the SEC.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And a lot of those recruits will go away.
Yeah. I mean, because you're putting two programs that I would definitely easily say are historically better than A&M into that conference now. It's like, hey, you're going to go to the best conference in college football still. You're not going to the Big 12, even though they've got 10 teams, to maybe squeeze in a playoff spot if you go undefeated. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Right.
And I never understood. Look what he left behind. Like, how did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did it go from that to that?
They're terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely. It's going to be a while before we see Florida State back to anything that they were. So I do agree on that for sure. But not to take away from any of that from Arkansas, though. Arkansas played a good game, outplayed them, won the game. A&M might not have played their best, but like I said, at the end of the day, I think Arkansas really proved something. But good thing about the SEC, you've got another week when you get to turn around and prove it again. So even tough matchup coming up for them. And, Georgia, too, is another team. I think Georgia, it's almost like they're looking better since they've played Clemson. I mean, I know they ain't played anybody, but, I mean, to beat an SEC team like they did with Vandy 62-0, and Vandy, don't get me wrong, Vandy's pitiful this year, honestly. But that's going to be a scary team to face right now. So, kind of going on, and I really hate to have to do this and talk about this one, but Tennessee getting beat by Florida this weekend. You know what the most frustrating thing as a Tennessee fan is we couldn't, I want to take some positives away from it because, there was the first half looked pretty good. I mean, I was thinking this is going to be a good game. What was it, 17-14? I believe Florida went up there right at the end of the half.
And we missed a field goal. So, I mean, it could have been tied.
Right. And it's like, man, we're right in this game. And I understand, honestly, Florida's the better team, talent-wise and stuff this year right now, the way they play with Bama the week before. And so you expect the team to pull away a little bit in the second half. But as a Tennessee fan, it's like you get your hopes up. They got to get you there just like enough. You know what I mean? And you can't help but fall for it. And then just crashes down right there. So terrible first half, second half, Tennessee didn't score any. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the rest of the year. I think there's going to be some tough teams, and we're going to have a hard time. I'm wanting to hope that we can make a bowl game. I said that the first of the season. If we make a bowl game, that's going to be successful this year. I still think right now Hendon Hooker is probably the quarterback to go with. Milton's just not accurate enough. So tough loss, but kind of expected it. So just, that little bit of emotion in the first half to kind of get you like, well, we might have a chance maybe, but, got to move on to the next one. I guess that's how you got to do it. So did y'all get to watch any of that one on that game, or anybody got anything like to throw in on that one?
No, I mean, it's everything you said. I mean, and, I guess it kind of gives me some promise for Heupel and his staff because obviously they had a good game plan. It just kind of seemed like Tennessee got worn down. They couldn't contain Emory Jones. We just don't have the horses to run with a team like Florida or Georgia, Alabama. I mean, you name it. And those were – I mean, it's part of the process, and Heupel's got to get his guys in there. But I do think there's some promise there because he had a good scheme. They came out playing really well. So quarterback play looked better. You didn't see a whole lot of overthrows. So good signs moving forward.
I agree. There's some positives.
Yeah. At least I feel like Hooker actually looked semi-decent. It wasn't a sexy performance by any means, but he didn't screw up against a tough Florida defense. I mean, there's something to take away from that. And it's like you said, if they come away 6-6, 7-5, I mean, you take that. I mean, it is. The first half definitely was promising. It kept me on the edge of my seat. Quickly lost interest in the second half. But I mean, you can see the promise there. There's just Florida's a better team. That's all there is to it.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see them play not necessarily Georgia, but the rest of the East and kind of see what they can do with that.
Well, and I think it's still encouraging for Tennessee fans, and it's like Michael said, we're not done with a bowl game opportunity.
Nope.
I could see us beating Missouri. I could see us beating South Carolina. Should easily beat South Alabama and Vanderbilt. So that puts us at 6 wins if we can do that. And I'm not going to just chalk Kentucky up to a loss. I don't think we'll win it, but I'm not going to chalk it up to a loss. It's not like when I look at the schedule and see Alabama, Ole Miss, I don't expect us to even be in those. So,
Right. Matt, I don't know if you got to catch any of that game or not.
Yeah, I was flipping between it and the Bama game. I think on Tennessee's side of the ball, you just saw the result of a very young team lacking leadership, played very emotionally, but maybe with a little loss to fundamentals, a lot of costly penalties, that type of thing. So I think there were correctable mistakes. That's the encouraging thing. If you're a Tennessee fan, you came out, you hung with them for a little bit, and then you sort of started to self-destruct. You got beaten by a team that was better than you. So at the end of the day, what do you take from it? Okay, we need to recruit some guys. We need to get them in here. We need some leaders on both sides of the ball. We need to just get back to basics and fundamentals. It looked like Tennessee has been playing very emotional games this year. As the game goes up and down, so does their performance. They come out hot, but then once the other team starts to kind of regain control, they kind of slip back down. So,
Right. Yeah, that's really about all I think to take away from that one. Kind of last thing here for college-wise before we get into NFL. I don't know, Matt, if you have anything you really want to say about Bama this weekend. I mean, they did what they're supposed to do. So I know he threw his first interception.
yeah, it was frustrating. It bounced off the receiver's hands too.
But it's not. I just know you mentioned that, so because I didn't get to watch that one. But I mean,
which it is what it is. Now it's probably a weight off his shoulders, and good thing it didn't happen in like a big game.
Best game. I started saying best game for that.
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't carry that stress, but I'll tell you, I know we'll get to this later, but I'm just this weekend. That's what's on my mind.
Yep. Get that. Do you guys have anything to say really about that game? I mean, like I said, it is what it is. So
yeah,
they do.
I wasn't pulling for Alabama Saturday. I'll just throw that out there.
No, that's fair.
Just kidding. I at this point, you just respect it and you just move on with your life.
Yeah, if they're going to go down, that needs to be,
the sun rises in the east.
Not big of an upset. UT at least. Come on. That's comparable, probably, but
yeah, but
that would hurt them worse.
Yeah, you get used to Alabama. I mean, and then if you want to still like college football, you have to at least tolerate it, and that's where I'm at in my life.
Bucks want Bama.
Bucks want Bama.
It needs to happen. That'd be fun.
It would not.
It would not be fun. We're trying to have a great season here, Matt. Next year, maybe.
It'd be good for ETSU. It'd bring a lot of attention to the program. So
that's fair.
Revenue.
Yeah, true. So I guess we'll kind of go ahead and get into the NFL, which is another. I mean, NFL didn't have a lacking of craziness either. So we had a lot of wild stuff go on there too. So excited to talk about that. I will say Panthers, Titans, and Saints all won, boys. We're all in the win column on the NFL. That's one thing I'm in the win column on because also my fantasy football team is 0-3 after this weekend. Going great.
That's tough.
This is a little off subject, but I did think of something, and I don't know if everybody thinks it'd be a good idea or not, but we should start keeping up with the fantasy football record this year since we're not in the same league.
Well, I'd be okay with that, but I know at the end of the year when I beat the brakes off Derek, he's going to be like, "You were in an easier league than me," which might be the case. But
well, Derek's in like 12, so he's going to get you on 1 at least.
Yeah, so I was 8-0. I was 8-0 coming in this week. I think I'm going to be 11-1 coming out of it. So finally lost. Yeah, had a rough week.
yeah, that's a bad week there, man. Can't relate.
Sam Darnold's going to have to start throwing to Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
Matt, I don't know if you need to let people know this in your league, but you can't put a kicker at your flex.
I do every week.
Just to even it out. He wants to keep balance.
Yeah, it's safe.
Dude, I don't even run a QB in my league.
He put Tucker.
Just kidding. I run Jameis Winston, which is the same thing.
Tucker in. Yeah.
He put Tucker in kicking 66-yard field goals for win the game. So
That outscore half.
yeah. I do think we got a minor technical difficulty going on Derek right now, or maybe he's so stunned.
That's not a flat.
How good Matt is. We were actually just talking about how we can't wait till you get back in here so we can get going with this more football talk.
I'm here for it.
So, Derek, your Panthers are 3-0. I did see something cool about that, and I meant to send it to you guys, but Panthers I think they're the only team that's not been trailing at any point in the game.
Yep.
So,
and I think we're the only team that has allowed as few yards as we have and started 3-0 since like 1992 or something crazy, which I know who we've played, but
I was going to say.
I know that argument never gets old. But 3-0 in the NFL is 3-0, and my big takeaway wasn't necessarily that we're 3-0 or anything like that. It's more how healthy is McCaffrey going to be.
JC Horn's about that.
Yeah, JC Horn's out for presumably this season, which we did make a trade today, and I was going to pull up some stuff on him. But I'm excited for CJ Henderson, and we'll see how well he fills that void. But that's obviously a big loss for our defense. But Booyah didn't play last week, so we get him back too. So we'll see. But the thing about Henderson is he's a good piece for a lot of years, and a lot of our really good defensive players are super young. So, at the end of the day, we look encouraging. So for years to come, and just hopefully we can keep on. Winning.
I mean, is Sherman still on the board? I mean, I saw the Henderson thing. Would they still go after Sherman?
I haven't heard an update as to what that trade does to the Sherman thing. I know that Fitterer has a relationship with him, so I'm sure he's probably still in somebody's head as a possible piece. But I don't know how this trade affects it. I haven't heard anything from any of the Panthers writers. So,
okay. And we'll kind of keep these rolling here too, because I figured with all of our teams winning, we do a little take on it just to keep the time, keep it rolling there. But Matt, did you have anything you want to say on the Panthers game?
I didn't really watch it. I can't say anything bad against the Panthers since they kind of embarrassed my Saints. So I have to wait till the Saints play them again, which is later in the season. So
fair.
Saints look good, though.
Just bide my time.
Yeah. The Saints look good. That adds some merit to the Panthers.
Yeah, the Saints win. It wasn't very flashy. Jameis had less than 200 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. And I'm okay with him taking care of the ball. I don't care about flashy wins. They picked off Mac Jones 3 times. One was a pick 6. I think that was Mac Jones' first interceptions in the NFL.
Yeah, he had been pretty accurate at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's good signs. I don't think the Saints are winning the Super Bowl. I'm just looking to see Jameis take care of the ball. That's what he did this week, but he didn't do it last week. So
Kamara showed up too.
Mm-hmm.
He looked good. Yeah, you called that. Yeah, you did call that, Colby. You said that you didn't think he'd have many games like he did last week. And
I would say last week that's hard to replicate. Too good to repeat that action. Good for the Saints. the Pats, I mean, I don't know where to put them right now, but seeing Jameis go against Bill Belichick and not screw up, I mean, you take that. I mean, that
Right. Derek, anything you'd like to add on that?
No, I mean it's pretty much what everybody said. I mean, good win. You win a game in the NFL by that margin, you're happy. I mean, and it's not like the Patriots are like Colby said. You don't really know where they're at. Obviously, with a rookie quarterback, he's going to have up and down days. But you beat a Belichick team pretty significantly. You're pleased at the end of the day.
Yep. Kind of going into the next one there. Titans won. That was a big win. Tighten up. That was a big win. It's always good to beat the Colts.
Sure.
Derrick Henry still owns the division.
Yeah, he does.
Come on. He's definitely King Henry in that division too. So and he did what he needed to do. And the only thing I will say, I didn't notice AJ Brown got hurt hamstring early on. I have to look to see how that's gonna. Obviously you want to see him back on the field. Because Titans' offense this year is going to be their main thing. So, but it was nice to see the defense. I mean,
yeah,
make some plays, hold them to 16 points. And they got some pressure on Wentz. So it was nice to see that deep. But I think it's one of those things that your offense is clicking, you're putting up points, you're taking pressure off the defense, and when you hold the ball like that and run the ball, and then you build confidence. Defense starts getting a little fired up, getting a little momentum on things, so you can build that confidence up too. So, big players make the players that need to make plays making them. So I'm really happy with that win. Obviously divisional, but that's pretty much our competition in the division there. So
yeah, we're definitely very fortunate that is our competition. And I was talking with D about this earlier. I don't know if there's a player more important to their team that's not a quarterback than Henry. I mean, our team goes as Henry goes. And so seeing him, I mean, that's just a standard game for him. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
He performed. It was not a pretty game. I mean, AJ Brown's been really quiet this whole year. Granted, he got hurt. But defense played well, which is nice. Yeah. Something I really noticed was it Fulkerson, DB out of LSU, second-round pick a couple years ago. I think Duke could be a number one corner, a really good number one corner. I thought he was a first-round talent last year. Unfortunately, we took he who shall not be named before him, but I still think that dude was definitely worth probably a top 15 pick, and I think he could be a number one corner. He's went against Metcalf last week and then Pittman this week and really kind of held his own. I know it's not exactly a sexy position, but I think it's something that we should keep our eyes on. Starting out 2-1, tough schedule. Love to see it. Weak division, probably the weakest in the league. So we just got to keep holding our own. This schedule doesn't get any easier. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough sledding for sure. But seeing the Colts start 0-3, that's nice to see. I'll take that.
All right, sorry about that. Getting back into it. We're going to kind of wrap it up here pretty quick. But one thing I did want to take from this weekend is KC starting 1-2, bottom of their division. If I'm a KC fan, I'm not panicking just yet. I mean, Kansas City can win games. They've been close in the ones they have lost, but this is not the way you expected them to start, honestly. I mean, I'm sure you guys feel the same probably on that. And it's interesting to see because I think that the Chargers, Justin Herbert's the real deal, I think, which I think he showed that last year too. It's just, that team's slowly turning around. So it'll be interesting to see how he does the rest of the season as well.
No, and I don't think it's any time to panic. Granted, your coach got put in the hospital after the game, which is kind of alarming. But you also got the Raiders that have started out, perfect. You got the Broncos that have started out perfect. Chargers just beat you. I still think Chiefs end up with that division, but even so, I mean, that's a scary division. That's tough.
Absolutely.
I think the Raiders are for real. I don't necessarily know if the Broncos are, but they're not a bad team.
Right.
I mean, they can compete, and clearly the Chargers can as well. So I feel like the Chiefs had their toughest test that they've had in a long time. Obviously, just in division, but AFC is going to be tough as well. So, and we'll see. I mean, I still think that's my Super Bowl fave in the AFC. So I'm not going to go away from that. But it's interesting now. It really is.
Yeah. And then just like I said, guys, due to time, we're going to try to wrap it up here. But game you're looking forward to this week. Matt, we'll go ahead and start with you. What game are you looking forward to most this coming weekend?
Gee, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely Bama Ole Miss.
Right.
It's what I think will be Bama's biggest test in the regular season. I'm fully prepared for an emotionally draining game because I know Lane Kiffin knows how to score points. I know Matt Corral is an explosive playmaker. That offense, they just put up points. So we'll see. Really need Bama's defense to step up. If there's one thing I can say that'll determine the outcome of the game, it's going to be whichever team can pressure and bottle up the quarterback better. Both teams have mobile QBs who can punish you if you give them too much time and can try to make their own space. So that's what I think will be the determinant in this game. It's which team can pressure the QB and bottle them up better.
Colby?
It's kind of a cop-out again. I think I did the same thing last week. But Cards and Rams, both 3-0, division rivals. What I see there's only 5 teams left that are 3-0. So explosive offenses should be a fantasy dream. But, I really don't know what to expect. Hopefully just a high-scoring game. Kyler's performed really well this year. Stafford looks like he's at home. So we'll see. I like to see this, who kind of takes the lead in the NFC West.
What about you, Derek?
Well, I don't want to steal your thunder, Michael, if I just – you go and then I'll go because I've got something different.
So were you thinking like Georgia and Arkansas? Because that's
so fast, my friend.
All right, because that's – so we might be good. Who you got then?
I was going to give some crazy answer that's not crazy. I'm just so excited for college football this weekend. I think this is like the type of weekend that college football fans just live for. You got Arkansas, Georgia, Cincy, Notre Dame, Bama, Ole Miss, and weirdly, Michigan, Wisconsin it's a 1-point spread. Should be a really interesting game. And then Iowa and Maryland are both 4-0. I mean, I'm just saying this has been the best lineup we've had in college football so far this season. And whether I have rooting interest or not, they should be good close games because I could not care less about the Big Ten. And then also Tom Brady goes back to New England.
Hey, yo.
So
there we go.
Mic drop.
Boom. So I'm going to go with Arkansas, Georgia is the game I look forward to most. But I do agree with you, Derek. There's a lot of good games. Matt, second for me is going to be Alabama, Ole Miss. I'm excited to see what they do there. So good weekend coming up in college football, though. So, and, we'll be here talking about it again next week. So excited for it. And also just, for anybody that watches this, just comment, let us know what game you're looking forward to the most. And then I think I'm going to do a poll later this week. Will I get my first win in fantasy football? To be determined. We don't know. So probably not.
Just join Matt's league.
Yeah. Matt, can I get in there somehow?
Yeah, man, I'll hook you up.
We'll see. I have to see who I'm playing. It's not looking promising. So
I think somebody's got Taysom Hill starting at quarterback.
Sure they do.
Maybe. That's my only hope. But again, just follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I got Twitter going a little bit this time with the Vols. Sorry I missed the second half just a bit. but thank you guys as always. So see you.